Welcome to This Explainer. You know, if you're getting ready to write an MSc project proposal, especially one following a really rigid institutional framework like the one from Mala Reddy University's School of Allied and Healthcare Sciences, you might literally be staring at a terrifyingly blank page right now. But we're going to completely change how you view this document. Seriously, don't look at it as a blank page. Look at it as a strict, empowering architectural blueprint. Just like a building, every single section has a precise purpose, a specific load to bear, and a distinct place in the overall structure. Today, we're deconstructing this blueprint step by step. So instead of feeling overwhelmed, you'll know exactly how to build your research project right from the ground up. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our structural table of contents for today's blueprint walkthrough. 1. Setting up your proposal. 2. Building the academic foundation. 3. Designing materials and methods. 4. Timelines and expected outcomes. And 5. Mastering Vancouver-style citations. Simple enough, right? Let's kick things off with Part 1, Setting Up Your Proposal, Essential Front Matter. Every great construction project starts with securing the right permits, right? Well, before the heavy lifting begins in your proposal, this front matter is absolutely non-negotiable. So right after your title page, you've got the approval sheet. And this isn't just some formality. You need actual signatures from your guide, your co-guide, your evaluators, and the ISC chairperson. Think of it as your official clearance to build. Then you have the list of acronyms. And yes, you literally need to define your acronyms, even the super obvious ones. If you're using BLAST, Basic Local Alignment Search Tool, or even DNA, you have to define them here. Lay this groundwork before you start out-nerding everyone in the later chapters. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the rigid, highly specific formatting rules required for your synopsis. This is basically the elevator pitch for your entire blueprint. It strictly has to be in italics, a tight 200 to 250 words, and it absolutely must use Times New Roman size 12 font. Oh, and at the bottom, exactly 4 to 6 keywords, no more, no less. This level of extreme precision shows your evaluators right off the bat that you can follow strict academic protocols. All right, moving on to Part 2. Academic Foundation, Structuring the Research. This is where we pour the concrete foundation of your research argument. Once that paperwork is signed, notice how this next sequence perfectly builds upon itself. Step 1 is the introduction, where you outline the background and the critical need of the study. Why are we even doing this? Then Step 2 reinforces that need with a review of literature. This proves you understand what other scientists have already built. And resting firmly on that concrete foundation, we arrive at Step 3, your aim and objectives. It's so logical. You introduce the need, back it up with existing literature, and naturally arrive at your precise aims. Next up is Part 3, Materials and Methods, the core methodology. This, right here, is the media section of your proposal. It's the core structural engineering of your project. Literally, if this fails, the whole building collapses. You've got to address every single bullet on this comprehensive checklist. We're talking 4.1, study area description, 4.2, study design. You need clear inclusion and exclusion criteria for 4.3, like who gets in and why. Then outline your sample size, sample collection, your broader methodology, and exactly how you'll handle statistical analysis. But above all, please pay special attention to Section 4.8, Institutional Ethics Clearance. Without this ultimate safety inspection, your project simply cannot proceed. No way around it. Let's transition to Part 4, Timelines and Outcomes, Execution Phase. So, with the methodology engineered, we hit the execution phase. This is where you connect all your meticulous paperwork to real-world impact. So the crucial point is, your research doesn't exist in a vacuum. Under Sections 5 and 6, you need to articulate the expected outcomes and tangible societal benefits. What is the actual real-world value of your work? But immediately after that, you've got to be scientifically honest and state the limitations and constraints. It's like, just as a perfect blueprint acknowledges the physical limits of its materials, a perfect proposal realistically acknowledges the limitations of its research scope. Let's move to and see how this builds. Straight into a brilliant 6-step timeline pulled directly from the source table. Section 7 gives you a super structured work plan. Activity 1 is your proposal writing in February. Activity 2, material and laboratory setup preparation in March. Activity 3 is sample collection and processing in April. Activity 4, you actually conduct the experiment in May. And finally, Activities 5 and 6 are your dissertation writing and defense, scheduled for June and July. This timeline literally carries you from the very first word you write in February straight to your successful defense in the summer. It's all mapped out. We are almost there. Part 5, Vancouver Citations, Proper Formatting.
We're shifting to the final, notoriously tedious construction phase, properly formatting those Vancouver-style references. And this brilliantly illustrates a massive time saver directly authorized by the university. When you have a paper with a ton of authors, like the examples provided on human brucellosis or the Hendra virus, you actually have a choice. You can list every single author, or you can legitimately save time and space by listing the first few authors followed by et al. Knowing this explicit "or" condition keeps you compliant while making your drafting process significantly more efficient.
Finally, Section 9 dictates the inclusion of other information. Basically, these are your appendices. This ensures that all the practical, real-world data collection tools used in your research, like the exact questionnaire, the data collection sheet, the case report form, or the participant information sheet, are physically attached right at the very end of the blueprint. Evaluators want to see exactly what you'll be putting in front of your subjects or using in the lab.
So, we've covered the approvals, the perfectly formatted synopsis, the logical flow of the introduction and literature review, the rigorous methods, the honest timelines, and the precise citations. You now hold the exact architectural blueprint required to construct a successful MSc project proposal. The structure is totally provided for you. That blank page isn't a mystery anymore. The only thing left to add is your unique contribution to science. So armed with this structural knowledge, I leave you with this. Your blueprint is complete. What will your research discover?